I'm addicted to you, 'cause you know that you're toxic. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where Matt and Todd go see a movie at our local AMC theater for now, Regal for Life. And then we sit in the parking lot right now in the parking garage of the Columbia Mall, and we talk about what we saw, what our thoughts are, and we shove it on down to you, the masses. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. And yes, here we are once again, having been to the theater in person and are recording our awesome podcast here in my car. Well, we saw a film tonight, Todd. This film is called Promising, thank you. Promising Young Woman. This movie is nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. And we'll talk about whether it deserves that or not. Although I haven't seen all the pictures that are nominated this year.
I don't think I have either.
No.
I don't even know what else is nominated.
Yeah. Most of them you've never heard of.
Probably.
Was my thought. But anyway, so this movie has not a lot of famous people in it, and most of the famous people are really like more TV people than movies.
There's a lot of TV people in this.
So I can name two, and it sounds like you can name a lot more.
I could try.
Yeah. My two are Alison Brie.
Yep.
And Molly Shannon, who I don't even know if I consider her a star at this point, but
yeah.
I at least recognized her.
Well, she's also in it for like 3 minutes, and that's it.
True.
Maybe not even that.
True.
Let's see. There's Carey Mulligan, who's the main actress.
Oh,
She's
gotcha.
been in a lot of movies.
Oh.
Well, I don't know about a lot of movies, but
Wow.
she is primarily a movie person. And we've got Clancy Brown,
Okay.
who's her dad.
Uh-huh. He did look familiar.
We have watched a movie with him in it recently.
Okay.
I think he is Mr. Crab from SpongeBob, but he's been in a ton of stuff. It's just that's the go-to, I think, at this point.
Right.
There's Jennifer Coolidge from Legally Blonde fame.
Okay.
She was the mom,
Gotcha.
but she was not sporting her typical blonde hair, and she wasn't a blonde bimbo, which is her role in almost every movie.
Gotcha.
And the guy who played Al, I recognize, but I don't specifically remember like what I recognized him from. But the guy who is his friend Joe. Mm-hmm. He was Schmidt from The New Girl. New Girl.
Gotcha.
And that's about it. Oh, there's Adam Brody's in this in the beginning.
Okay.
Can't really. I think the OC is where
Okay.
he got his break. I don't know. That's as far as I can go.
Wow. That's pretty far. Pretty far down the road there. So anyway, those are the people who are in it. What is this movie actually about? Well, you got the main character, Cassandra, I guess is her full name.
Yes.
And throughout the movie, the story kind of unpacks itself. But in the beginning of the movie, she is taking this role of like pretending to be a drunk person at a bar and trying to get a guy to go home with her. And then she surprises them by not being drunk and confronts them about what their intentions were or what they were trying to do to her. So there's a lot of that. And so what else is going on in her life? You learn that she's dropped out of medical school. You don't learn why right away. You learn that she works at a coffee shop and she lives at home with her parents. And in the midst of all that, she goes out in the night and does this other thing. So then the movie kind of unpacks itself a little bit more, and you find out more about why she dropped out of medical school. Her friend Nina was sexually assaulted and ended up killing herself. or dying in some way. I don't know if they actually ever say she killed herself.
Yeah. It's implied, but they never really explain it.
Well, anyway, so eventually you learn that Nina was sexually assaulted, dropped out of medical school, and subsequently died. So, and the same for Cassie. She didn't die, but she also dropped out of medical school.
Yes.
And so then you start to see a guy comes back into her life from medical school named Ryan, who actually comes into her coffee shop and tries hitting on her and tries going on some dates, and they do go on some dates and stuff. And eventually that sort of brings up some old connections, because he was from the medical school where she went, and they didn't really know each other, but he knew a lot of the people there, especially the guy who sexually assaulted Nina. So, so then it kind of all comes to a head. She lays some traps for people and kind of confronts some people from that scene, like many years later, and sort of makes them feel bad. Or in one case, the guy totally owns up and apologizes, and he was the lawyer for the guy who sexually assaulted the girl when he was in med school, I guess. So anyway, it all comes to head at the guy, the sexual assaulter, Al, has a bachelor party, and Cassie goes there to confront him. And then we have the rest of the movie, which I won't share with you exactly what happens, but there's some stuff goes down, let's just say. So I think that's the meat of the story. What did you think of this film, Todd?
Well, I will start by saying that what I told you after the movie was that this is probably one of the most cringeworthy movies I've ever watched. And just because it's like got this, it's about super serious content that is super cringeworthy, because honestly in this movie you're seeing the worst in every single person who's in this movie. And I guess that's pretty much what it's about, is that it's, besides being wrapped around this kind of rape culture thing, it's about seeing everyone at their worst. And can you make amends for that, or can't you make amends for that, I guess, is pretty much what they're going for.
Yeah.
So I would say this is a pretty good movie, I thought. Like, as far as, like, acted, the story is good and engaging. I felt it dragged a little in the middle. I was really kind of confused in the middle of where we're going. Nothing's happened in a while. Like, and it wasn't even a long movie, but I really felt like in the middle I was questioning what was going on. And, the story is cringeworthy. I mean, like, I just don't know what else to say about it. It's very awkward to watch. Doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it, though. I guess one of my biggest critiques is that I don't know if this movie is Best Picture worthy. But I guess I say that every year when half of the list is like, why is that on there? Or right. Especially this year where a lot of things didn't come out. I guess, like, the people who have to vote on that stuff was like, well, we still got to vote, and all these movies didn't come out, so what's left? Not to totally say this movie absolutely doesn't deserve it, but I find that decision a little weird. I'm torn between telling you to go see this movie, but then being like, it's super awkward and it's super little gut wrenching. I mean, it's a hard movie to watch, and it's a hard movie to watch because it's about a real subject matter, and that happens all the time, and it takes a look at every side of this kind of rape culture scenario. It takes a look at the victims, takes a look at the perpetrators, takes a look at the people who were maybe there for the instant and didn't do anything. Like, it just takes a look at every angle. And, you know, like, I think that if you are an adult and you want to go see this movie, you should. It's definitely not for kids. Not that I think anyone would really think about bringing their kids. Definitely not. Hard R, I think. And, yeah, this is one of those movies that's gonna sit with me for a long time, I think. Like, I'm gonna be mulling this over for a long time, and maybe that's the point of the movie, is to make you think about it, make you think about this whole thing. So, I'll say this, is these movies and this subject matter is super hard for me to deal with, not just because I have a daughter, but because it's so hard for me to relate to, because I've never had urges to take advantage of a woman. Like, and it almost feels like it's harder to relate to this movie because of that. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I'm going to say go see it if you're an adult and you want to go see a movie. So, I will say another mark against it to me is it was kind of weird cinematography-wise. Like, some shots, I just thought they were weirdly out of place for the subject matter. Like, sometimes I felt like the shots were going for, like, really artsy shots. It would be, like, a perfectly squared off frame, and you know, a person would be absolutely in the center. There'd be details around them, and like, these kind of shots happened a lot, and I just felt like they were out of place. This isn't like an artsy movie. Like, it's not like you know, you're not going for super artsy cinematography. You're going for subject matter, I feel, and so some of that was a little distracting and out of place, but still suggest people see it, you know, and if you really love it, well, hopefully it wins Best Picture. I don't know. Matt, what did you think about this hard to sit through movie?
Yeah, well, definitely cringeworthy. Well, I believe the reason that it was nominated for Best Picture is because of the cringeworthy subject matter.
Yeah.
It's a commentary on rape culture in America, and not everyone's familiar with that term, but basically it's talking about men who don't take no for an answer or take advantage of women who are intoxicated or drugged.
Yeah.
When that's illegal, that's rape. But also this idea that we shouldn't mess up men's lives just because they're being accused of something terrible. We just don't know exactly what happened is kind of the go-to answer.
Yeah.
And you hear that spelled out in this film. So I think it's important in that way for its commentary on American society. You know, you've seen these stories play out in the news and over and over, and it's a real thing that happens.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason for the Best Picture nominee, I believe, and that is, I think, the best reason to see this movie. You're right. The acting is good. It's fine. No complaints there. My complaints come from the story, which feels a little bit jumbled to me at times.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, well, I always have a problem when they're telling the story out of order, and you do get a little bit of that where you're sort of finding out about what happened with Nina throughout the whole movie, and you don't really fully find everything out until near the end.
Right.
But so that made it feel a little bit jumbled. But I you know, you get the gist. I got along with it. I'm not going to grade it too harshly for that. That's kind of just, if I have to mark it down for something, it would be, let's be a little bit more clear about what's going on. at different points. And I think, yeah, it did drag in the middle as well. There's sort of this time period between when she's going out on the prowl and confronting all these men, and then she sort of changes and doesn't do that anymore and starts to have a kind of normal life, and then there's like a twist that pulls her back into where she was before, and she kind of dives back into things.
Yeah.
That part of it is a little bit boring, but I think you need it to set up the rest of the movie.
Right.
But when you're in it, you're like, why do I care about this love story that's seemingly coming true?
Right.
So overall, I would say, I don't know if I could say I liked it because it was so cringeworthy.
Yeah.
But I can say that I think it's a decent movie, and I would say, yes, if you're an adult in America, you should see it. Especially if you haven't processed some of the ideas about rape culture, this can help you do that. If you haven't thought deeply about it, you should.
Right.
So, that's where I sit with this theme.
Well, on to the rating system.
Yes.
How many coffee beverages that have been spat in would you give this movie?
Yeah. Well, normally I would say that coffee that has been spit in, if we're being honest, I don't drink coffee or like it, so
Neither do I.
Coffee in general is not that great, much less when it has been spit in. But there is a scene in this movie where coffee gets spit in and someone subsequently drinks it, even with the knowledge that it has been spit in.
Yes.
So it's pretty amazing. And so I will say 5 coffees that have been spit in is the highest rating in this instance. Mm-hmm. So
maybe you like your spit in your coffee. We're not here to judge.
Right. We're not.
Unless you're a rapist and we judge you harshly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Both things are true. So scale of 0 to 5, I'm going to go with, here come the security guards.
Yeah, I don't know if they're
going to shut us down.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, they're not.
They drove by. Okay.
Sorry. Mall security rolling by with the flashing green lights. Yeah. Anyway, so scale of 0 to 5, spittable coffee drinks. I'm going to give it a 3.2.
Okay.
Above average. I don't think Best Picture. I see why you nominated it, Academy Award people. But I'm not quite there with you on that level. Although, again, I haven't seen the competition, so it could win. Who knows? But 3.2 is where I'm going to sit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to go 3.0. Okay. And as we've been talking about it, I think I came down a little bit the more I think about the movie. Mm-hmm. One really big distraction to me for this movie, and I don't know if I can really say it's the movie's fault. Yes, it's the movie's fault because they casted this person. Is that Jennifer Coolidge as the mother felt so wrong. Mm. And I say that because she can't move her face anymore because of all the plastic surgery. Mm. And it showed. And there's like a super minor, it's really not even a subplot, that the house that our main character lives in with her parents and stuff like that, there are times where they show the house and it's just absolutely colorfully insane.
Yeah.
And it serves no purpose. It's just distracting. And, yeah, so I'm starting to think maybe if I really think more about this movie, I might come down a little bit more, but I'm just going to cap it at 3. This is a first response thing.
Yes. Gut reaction.
These are the feelings I had from walking from the theater to the car. So that's where I'm at.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Well, that will make our average rating 3.1 coffee drinks that have been spit in out of
Yes.
5, which is a good rating. Not a perfect rating, obviously,
Sure.
but a decent rating. And, I think we both agreed that if you live here in America and you're an adult, you should maybe take a watch of this.
Well, now I'm even second guessing my voting thing of with the coffee cups that get spit in it, because the more I think about it, the guy who drinks the cup not with knowledge that the spit is in it is a doctor, and I refuse to believe any doctor would do that to a person he does not know.
Yeah.
So it's all falling apart. We better wrap up, or things are really coming down.
We're going to end up re-rating it at 0. All right. So we've given our gut reactions to the movie Promising Young Woman, and you heard it here. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please continue to do so, and we'll continue to make these.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.